You should see your face right now.
The Yeezy 700 V3 Azael. Probably, not probably, most definitely my favorite 700 to date. Before that, the only one that I was really like super stoked on was the original Wave Runner, the very first 700 that dropped. When I saw these, literally from the get-go, if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen me, I've talked about them, I've wanted them, I've been hyped about them. And I paid resale for them just because I tried my butt off to get these and just couldn't. I couldn't find them anywhere for retail. I tried, everywhere sold out really quick. It's what I expected. I try really hard to never pay resale for sneakers. If I miss out, I miss out. But I was so excited and wanted to see these so badly that I paid resale for them. And I only did so because of all the coupons that have been offered on eBay recently. They did 25% off of anything over $250, I think. And so I was able to get these just right over $400. So anyway, aside from that, I'm stoked I got them. Let's dive in a little deeper. So first and foremost, all the black material that you see running, I guess, on the interior portion of the shoe, all the way up to where the tongue is or would be, and to the back panel of the shoe wrapping up your Achilles area, is a booty. It's not a full booty. So on the outer portion of the cage, which we'll get to, where it kind of rounds off right here, is the same place on the inside where the booty cuts off. So it's not a full booty, doesn't go all the way down to the midsole area. It rounds off on the inside portion. If the camera would pick it up, I would show you, but that would probably be more work than it's worth, to be honest. So just know that it's not a full booty system, it is cut off, and that allows for a ton of ventilation right here where the mesh or the prime knit material is built in beneath the cage system. And I'm pretty sure that's why they did it. It's both lateral and medial portions of the shoe and just a ridiculous amount of breathability. So the shoe, all in all, is very minimal when it comes to the material, especially in reference to the previous versions of the 700, and I'll get more into that. But just know that that's the booty system and that's how it's made up, and I'm pretty happy with it. You have a cage, like I already mentioned, and the cage wraps the entire shoe, both lateral and medial portions, and that's an RPU plastic rubberish feeling material, very soft and just there for added structure, and also pretty aesthetically pleasing. I think all in all, the shoe's a pretty good looking shoe, both looking at it and on feet. And beneath the cage portion of the shoe, you do have a mesh material. Now, I'm not 100% sure that that's not prime knit. I want to say that it is a prime knit, if not a blend of different materials, including prime knit. And the reason that I say that is because there is both the transparent mesh prime knit areas that we're seeing on a lot of the 350s that have come out from Yeezy. And also, if you go way back to, there was a Pure Boost collaboration between Wish and I think Sneaker Boy, and that had a prime knit material on it that was a specific sort of prime knit, and it was transparent very much the same way that this material is, thus leading me to believe that it's probably some sort of prime knit. That was a lot to get out, but that's just my feeling as far as the mesh material beneath this RPU cage structure portion of the shoe. Also worth mentioning, the mesh material almost has a pattern very similar to the V2. It has this same pattern running up the side, both lateral and medial sides of the shoe. So I wanted to mention that as well, just because it was cool that they took little hits from the previous generations and kept them on here. Outside of that, you do have this rubber material that's overlaid right on the toe box of the shoe, and it's the same shape that we're used to seeing on the toe boxes of both the 700 V1 and V2s. However, on those shoes, it is a suede material. On here, it is a rubber. I would assume they did that for reinforcement on the toe box, so if you happen to kick anything on accident, spill anything, it's not gonna stain, not gonna tear, not gonna be hard to clean versus the previous generations of this sneaker. Now heading back up to the booty area, you've got your lacing system, which is just loops attached to the inner portion of where the cage and the mesh area of the shoe is. So you can see both sides of there just include loops all the way down, creating your lacing system. And then you do have one pair of black rope laces. You've got plastic lace tips or aglets. And before we head down to the midsole outsole portion of the shoe, you do have a Ortholite insole, and we'll get more into why there's an Ortholite insole, but you can see the Ortholite, Yeezy, and Adidas Performance branding right there. Bottom of the insole, if you've had any previous Adidas silhouettes that are Ortholite shoes, this is your typical Ortholite insole, so not necessarily specific to this sneaker. However, that's probably the biggest change when it comes to the 700 versus the previous generations. Now we will head down to the midsole portion of the shoe. You've got a full EVA midsole, and beneath the midsole you do have an extra layer of cushioning, and that is Ortholite cushioning. As you can see in the holes of the outsole, all the blue areas are Ortholite cushioning, and that's where this shoe lacks and the previous generation does not, is this shoe does not include boost. So that's why the price cut came into play, and that's why people are concerned, I guess, with comfort overall. Outside of this EVA midsole, you do have a herringbone pattern outsole, and obviously that's all the blues in here is what makes up that pattern. And it's almost like a North Carolina blue. When I think back to my childhood and Jordan, North Carolina is always there. So whenever I see this shade of blue, I always just think Carolina for whatever reason. If you watched my previous video on the Yeezy Real 350s, those laces on that colorway were actually pretty similar to the blue that's on the outsole right here. Obviously these have been worn. Now that pretty much breaks down all of the materials and whatnot. So going from there into pricing, these were slated to come out at 180 bucks. The reason the price cut came into play was obviously because of the lack of boost, like I mentioned earlier. You can't drop the price over 100 bucks and not pull something. I knew something was going to come. Initially when the shoe was revealed and we just saw upper images of it and we didn't see the outsole and weren't given any information on materials, I thought to myself, well, it's probably not a boost sneaker, because if price goes down, the first thing that's going to go is the boost. Now obviously we know it's an Ortholite sneaker and that's the cushioning system in the shoe. However, the shoe is very minimal in comparison to the originals and the V2s. So not only were they able to remove the boost to save some money, but I think they just cut down on materials overall because it's very lightweight. It's very wearable. It's not as bulky on foot, not as clunky just overall, and I'm overall pretty satisfied with it, because if you watch any of my videos, you know that I'm pretty minimalistic when it comes to sneakers. I don't like heavy, bulky dad shoes, I guess for lack of better words, but I like these. I like these a lot. I'm very stoked on them. I'm still a little annoyed that I had to pay resale and high prices for them, but overall I like the shoe. It was supposed to be 180 bucks. Then retailers started sending out emails and rumors were floating around. The shoe wound up at $200 USD. Obviously that's here in America. It'll fluctuate up and down depending on where you're at in the world, and that's still a $100 price cut from the original. So all in all, I'm not upset with it when a shoe's usually 300 bucks and now it's 200. As far as comfort goes, I'm gonna give the shoe a 7.5 out of 10, because it's not as comfortable as some of the crazy cushioning systems, you know, Boost and React from Nike, and we don't really have to go into other brands at this point, but just know that Ortholite's not a new technology, not a new cushioning system. Overall though, fairly comfortable, very comfortable in comparison to the V1s and V2s in my opinion. Again, I'm not about bulky shoes. I love the minimalistic design of this, probably pretty close to an 8. I wore these all morning today, ran around with my kid at the park, chased him around, and they're very comfortable. I have literally nothing bad to say about the shoe as far as comfort goes. Sizing. Now, some people were mentioning on Twitter that these are hard to get on and hard to get your foot into, and maybe they are if you go true to size. The only size that I could find was an 11. I'm typically a 10.5 going true to size. The reason I went and snagged an 11 is because 1, it was the only pair near the price point that I was willing to pay, and 2, I've had a lot of issues with Yeezys just running ridiculously small. So when I saw the 11, I thought, well, it can't be too bad. If anything, it's gonna fit perfectly. Now, I think that's the case. I think these do run about a half size small. So I would say go a half size up from your true to size. I have no issues getting these in. If you just take them, you grab the back portion right here, pull the tongue up, slip your foot in. It's all neoprene around the tongue right here. My foot slid right in. If you have a thicker foot or a bulkier foot, you might have an issue. I have a pretty skinny foot, I have no issues. I would definitely go a half size up. That's my recommendation. I think true to size would be way too small, and this isn't a sneaker that you want to pull the insole out of just because, again, there's no boost. You're not sitting directly on the cushioning system. You're just not going to want to rock it that way. So just to recap really quick, $200 price point, 7.5 to 8 out of 10 when it comes to comfort level. And as far as sizing goes, go a half size up. Just trust me on that one. The majority of you at this point are probably going to pay resale for these. You're not going to get them for retail, and you're going to want a pair that fits. So go a half size up. You won't regret it. Thank me later. If not, I'm sorry. That's just my recommendations. I hope it works out for you guys. And as far as the 700 V3 Azaels go, that's gonna do it, guys. I appreciate all of you for watching the video. If you have any comments, as always, leave them down below in the comments section. I will definitely get back to you. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up. That helps the video gain some traction, get some views. Overall, helps the channel. I really appreciate that. And if you're brand new, shout out to you. But before you go, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, tap the little bell, get a notification anytime anything goes live on this channel. Guys, I appreciate it. I'm gonna throw these on foot, give you guys a look at them, and that's gonna do it. Until next time, I'm RJ. Appreciate y'all. I'll see you next time.